Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Rangers Review Morning Briefing. It is Monday, the 14th of April. The sun is shining as it has been doing for the last couple of weeks. Certainly where I am. Joshua Barry joins us. Is the sun shining where you are, Joshua?
No, Glasgow's back to normal. So great. Bit of rain walking into the office, but it was fun while it lasted. And we're heading out to Bilbao this week, Derek, but I don't think the weather looks brilliant, unfortunately, unless you can tell me.
Well, it wasn't looking brilliant. It was looking good for me. It's ideal for me because it meant I wouldn't have to pack the old sun cream. But I've just seen someone posted a BBC weather forecast online. I noticed over the weekend, and it's set to clear up a little bit on the Thursday. So that's when I will be there. I'm actually just checking my phone app as we speak. And it, let's see, Thursday, cloudy but sunny, 18 degrees. So I think we'll take that.
Take that. Yeah, yep. Take that. Would have liked a bit warmer, but take that.
Yeah. Very much looking forward to the game. Even more so after the ending to yesterday's match, which we'll dive into shortly. Just a quick word for our podcast sponsors before we do that. The Rangers Review brought to you by S1 Jobs. If it's time to hand in your transfer request, folks, then head over to S1 Jobs and upload your CV today. With thousands of jobs across Glasgow, Edinburgh, and the surrounding areas, you'll find the one at S1 Jobs. And remember, if you want to get your comments into myself and Joshua, you need to be a subscriber to the channel. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube if you're watching us on there. Get your comments in. Right, Rangers getting a 2-2 draw. 10-man Rangers again up at Pittodrie yesterday. A much changed lineup from Barry Ferguson. Understandable given the magnitude of the game on the horizon. It was a pretty forgettable first half as Aberdeen raced into a 2-goal lead. Ross McCausland was sent off for 2 bookable offences. We'll talk about him shortly, but an absolute nightmare for Ross McCausland. But Barry made changes again, and they worked. Rafa Fernandez came off in that first half as well. God knows if we'll see him again. Rangers responded a few minutes after half-time. Hamza Igamane with a neat little finish. And then dramatic scenes, and equally hilarious, I've got to say, when I seen Ianis Hagi ping one into the top corner after Cyril Dessers had struck the post with pretty much the last kick of the ball to spark jubilant scenes in the away end. Rangers earning a 2-2 draw to head back down the road, and I'm sure the players will be feeling a bit buoyant after that, after the comeback, given the circumstances of the game. Joshua, you were on with Chris, who was at Pittodrie for us yesterday, yes. The post-match reaction video. It was a crazy old game, really. It was one I've got to admit I was just apprehensive watching. I didn't want any key players getting injured in that game, and it looks like they've all came through unscathed. But what do you make of it?
Yeah, well, you kind of got your lineup spot on with making. I think you made 9 changes.
And I get pelters over the week, the usual pelters, and lo and behold, Barry. He must have been looking at my team and Derek selected a decent lineup there. That cycle was something like that.
Yeah, you obviously are you're always close, aren't you?
The
game overall, it kind of doesn't really matter, does it? And it's a hard one to analyze because I thought with 11 men, Rangers were pretty terrible, and we can get into a little bit about that. Equally, you probably don't put too much blame on that, Derek, because as you say, the bigger game is Thursday. They're carrying a lot of injuries. Barry Ferguson actually confirmed post-match, speaking on Rangers TV, that Rafael Fernandez had a hamstring injury. So you presume that's just from not playing at all, not really being in many squads, coming into a high-intensity game and only lasting, I think, about 20 minutes. So as you say, don't know when and if he will be seen again in a Rangers shirt. The first half, I just thought, and we'll come on to Danilo and Cortez, but I tweeted this out about 15 minutes into the half. Rangers went long with just about every goal kick. And I presume that was because they were playing in this new formation, because they're not really playing without and out wing-backs, as Ross McCausland kind of demonstrated, I think, with his performance. So they clearly didn't really have the confidence to play through or play out. But then they were just going direct and trying to play a second ball game, I thought, against a team who were just better suited to it. Aberdeen had much more kind of pronounced physicality, and there was a couple of moments where Cortez, Igamane, and Danilo got the ball down. There was that chance early on where you thought, okay, they might link up quite well here, but for whatever reason after that, it just didn't really have the opportunity to do so. It's now 2 goals. Is that 2 goals in every game? Rangers have conceded 2 goals in every game under Barry Ferguson in the Scottish Premierships. You got Kilmarnock, Dundee, Motherwell, Aberdeen, Celtic. Am I missing one there? Maybe one game. It's a lot, and again, as Chris and I discussed yesterday, I think they look more comfortable when they are playing in an environment that's more akin to a European game, when they're kind of sitting back and attacking in phases and relying on moments. And it's a wonderful finish from Hagi, something we've not seen too much from him this season. Obviously scored that Old Firm goal from outside the box, but yeah, a real continuation. They did show, again, I don't think that comeback necessarily happens maybe before Ferguson, but then you put yourself into that position again. So it's like, how much do you... Yes, it's great to get back from 2-0 down, but it's also not great to keep falling 2-0 down in the first place. And then there's so many changes. You can look at that as, okay, there's so many changes, so it's unrealistic to assume that Rangers play well. Or you can look at that starting 11 and say, still a lot of money spent on a number of players in that team, and you'd hope for more from it. But then equally, if you're playing a totally new system, and as I say, if you are being pretty attritional, being pretty direct, does that give the players the opportunity to kind of perform to their best? So yeah, difficult game, I think, to analyse, Derek, but I'm sure they'll have been happier. They'll have taken that 2-2 at half-time, put it that way, because it looked like damage limitation for a point.
Yep. Now, Blue Bells of Blue says, I was very surprised not 11 of that starting 11 looked like they wanted to play their way into the mix for Thursday, to be honest. Pretty disappointing first half. It's fair to say a number of players. Let's get into it. I touched on Ross McCausland. He was given an opportunity yesterday. Joshua, he never took it. He was all over the shop and then got sent off with a wild challenge. It was so wild, I'd be considering fining him for that, for putting his teammates in jeopardy. It was unacceptable to be tackling a guy like that when you're on a yellow. I know that it sparked a lot of debate on social media about his future at the club. Now, I know he's a bear living the dream. I don't think he's good enough for Rangers, Joshua. I would be looking to move him on in the summer, and I think it's for the sake of his own career as well. He'll be wanting to go out there and play games. Listen, he's a Northern Ireland international. I don't think he's going to play those games at Rangers. I don't think he's got the quality to improve Rangers at this moment in time. He'd be one of the players I'd be looking to shift in the summer. Yeah,
it's been a really difficult sort of second season, and seeing Finlay Curtis come into the game yesterday, I'm sure we'll talk about him as well, because I thought he did well. But it just shows the difference. I think Ross McCausland broke through and he was slightly later. I think he was maybe 20, 21, whereas Finlay Curtis is still 18. So he has a bit of time on his side. But there's a big difference between breaking through into a Rangers team and being seen as a young player to then making that next jump to being an established first teamer and someone who needs to make an impact consistently. And again, McCausland probably epitomises that argument I'm just making there. He's playing at right wing back and he looked uncomfortable. He kind of felt caught in between the whole time. I thought his use of the ball was really poor. A lot of stray passes. Wasn't alone in that, but by any means. But he looked like he was uncomfortable and out of position. And then I guess when you're in that type of situation, you're doing everything you can to make up for it. And that tackle, you're right, it is stupid. You can't do that. You can't do that when you're on a yellow card.
Yeah, it's a yellow card. I just don't get it. If you're on a yellow, it's just mad.
Yeah. But I think that shows that he's kind of in an uncomfortable position, trying to make up for it, instead of just being an experienced player who's maybe played right wing back a lot and thinks, do you know what, I'll just sit back for the next 10 minutes, get to halftime. Maybe I do need to come off. And Ferguson obviously said that. He suggested, look, maybe it should have been me that took him off. So he absolved a little bit of the blame, but not a good audition. Listen, his future is never going to be as a right wing back. I know he's played a couple of times at right back in the kind of a covering position, but it has been a difficult second season for him. It's a reminder of why it's so difficult for people to step up as well into the Rangers teams, because you probably have goodwill at the start, but then the expectation is high, and that's something that Finlay Curtis will have to navigate. He's 18, he's got more time on his side. I thought he responded well yesterday when I know Ferguson said he didn't think he had a tough first half. He had a couple of difficult moments, again, playing out of position. up against Shaden Morris, who's a very quick winger. But I thought he responded well, and unfortunate to obviously not create that goal just on the stroke of half-time, and then plays a part in Igamane. It's all about Igamane, that goal, but he plays a part in kind of getting Rangers back into the game. So I thought he did well in his first Rangers start, and easy to forget that. Not a difficult place to go and kind of pull on that top for the first time and play from the off.
Yep, kudos to Finlay Curtis. Just on Rafa Fernandez, when he went off injured, I was concerned, I've got to say, when I seen Tav, who would have been expecting a longer break than he got at Pittodrie. I was wanting Xander Hutton brought on, because if Tav gets injured, then Rangers are totally screwed for Thursday night, because, of course, Dujon Sterling is out for a long time. It will be interesting to see what that backline will consist of on that Thursday, given the suspension to Robin Proper as well. I'd imagine Clinton Enciala, who started, thought he did well yesterday. I think he will be in that backline on Thursday, Joshua, which will be a bit of a baptism of fire for him.
Yeah, I thought he can pass the ball, can't he? And there was a few passes into Cortez in that first half that were really nice. Proper seemed frustrated at him during a couple of the goals, but I thought Proper was pretty poor for a couple of the goals. Yeah. You know when a defender, I don't know if you saw the Liverpool goal yesterday with Van Dijk and Robertson, where one kind of kicked it onto the other, and you can see by the reaction sometimes tells you a little bit about little bit about maybe who was at fault. And I just thought that Proper, especially that second goal, doesn't drop with Pape Gueye, and then is blaming Enciala for not cutting out the cross or not dropping with it, which is maybe fine, but I thought it was probably the more experienced defender's fault on that one. So you'd expect it to be Enciala, Suter, and Tavernier. I guess the reason he doesn't bring on Xander Hutton is because Rangers were they a goal down by that point? Maybe not, but they hadn't started brilliantly. And then you're going Xander Hutton at right centre back and Ross McCausland at right wing back, which I don't know if Xander Hutton's played centre back much, but again, that would be a difficult situation to throw him into. And Tavernier kind of just, he can play a lot of football, can't he? I agree with you, though. It's not ideal. I suspect it'll be. Yeah, I suspect it'll be Ridvan right wing back and Chefty left wing back.
I don't actually thought of that. Interesting.
I
never actually thought of that. Chefty incidentally did well.
He did.
Yeah. Defensively, very good. We need that on Thursday, that's for sure. We touched on Hamza Igamane there, Joshua. Took his goal really well. He was playing as the number 9. Big call for Barry on Thursday. I would love Hamza to lead the line. I don't know if he will, though.
I agree with you. I think it's probably more likely to be Dessous, just because Igamane stayed on the whole 90 minutes. In saying that, I was thinking about this last night. He has played less football than Dessous. It's not improbable that someone plays Thursday, Sunday. So could it be that they just think he has the ability to play 2 games in a week? I'd hope so. That's the first time he's played as a number 9. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Since the last game against Aberdeen, Rangers had at home in January, mid-January, which just shows like that just shouldn't happen. No. It just shouldn't happen, especially when you're trying to protect and improve the value of one of your best assets. So I thought Dessous did all right when he came on. I know that late chance was a big one. I think it's harsh to criticize.
He's unlucky there.
Yeah,
I know he was getting slated, and I was in the process of slating him. Just before a few seconds later, Hagi pings one into the top corner.
Yeah.
But it's one of those. If he misses the target completely, I think, then fair enough, he's fluffed.
Yeah,
he's hit the right corner. It's just unfortunate for me, but Hamza gets the nod for me Thursday. But I know opinion.
I'm just getting. I was just distracted there because I was being shown a story that Inaki Williams has suffered a hamstring injury. Another hamstring injury. I know, if indeed. So there you go. That's that certainly won't hurt Rangers' chances, because he's one of the two most dangerous attackers. Let me just read you. It's on the Rangers Review. People can read it. Athletic Bilbao are facing a huge sweat, not just a sweat, ahead of their Europa League crunch with Rangers after Inaki Williams suffered a hamstring strain. Ernesto Valverde admitted they will have to assess one of their key players ahead of the game. So not definitively out. He said, we'll have to wait and see. It's true he had a slight discomfort and I didn't want him to continue in case we have to avoid a dangerous situation. So I decided to tell him to leave the pitch without a substitute to replace him. This was obviously against in their game they were playing last night. Yeah, so we'll see. If you never want to wish a player an injury, but it would be, I'll say it diplomatically, I think Rangers would be not disappointed if he was to miss out on Thursday.
No, just rest up the Naki. Make sure you're back for next season is what I would say. Never mind about Thursday. They came back from 1-0 down at home yesterday. Athletic Bilbao, they won by 3-1. Sanchez with a double and Nico Williams with a goal as well. So, they'd made a number of changes as you would expect as well. I know that Ernesto Valverde has been slagging off, criticising the Spanish FA about fixture congestion down there. They're vying for a Champions League spot, and they've got a number of big games in and around this game coming up. So, let's hope that they have tired legs and then some on Thursday. But cannot wait for that game. We touched on Igamane then. I would be giving him the nod on Thursday, but I can understand if Barry goes with Cyril Dessers, given he's pretty much his go-to guy in Europe this season. Another player that touched on there that netted the equalising goal, Joshua, Ianis Hagi comes on and scores it. You said there it's a wonderful strike, you've got to say. No goalkeeper is saving that. Interestingly, was speaking as well. His celebration was interesting, sort of hush-shush the, don't know if it was Aberdeen fans in the stand or someone he was directing that to when he was running away in delight. I did love the photograph as well of Nico Raskin and Finlay Curtis certainly enjoying their moment also at the end of that game. But Hagi's hit out over speculation over his future. Reports in Romania earlier this week suggested he's seeking an exit from Rangers. He dismissed it as fake news on social media. Speaking to Sky yesterday, he says, I understand from my perspective because my future is up in the air with the contract coming down at the end of the season. I totally understand. But what I cannot accept is things that are put, words that I haven't said ever. And I just wanted to make it clear because I never said I wanted to leave Rangers. You know how happy I am to be here and how much I love this football club. And I will do anything for this football club. What do you make of that, Joshua? And his contract is up in the air, of course. Yeah. I would like him to stay if a deal can be struck and Rangers to keep him around. I think he's a good lad to have about the place. I would like more consistency from him at times, but he is able to produce moments like yesterday.
Yeah, it's one of a number of up in the air situations at the moment, Derek, that is not helped by the ongoing wait to find a sporting director, appoint a sporting director. And Hagi, obviously, I think to understand the situation, you have to go back to last summer, which there was a problem that wasn't obviously resolved until October. It feels a million years ago now, but Philippe Clement publicly said that he didn't see him as the number 10 for Rangers long term, that they wanted to get him out of the door before the end of the would-be summer transfer window. At that moment in time, Hagi had been to the Euros, and I think, to be fair, he hadn't played down the possibility of leaving Rangers. And you understand that because, again, from the player's point of view, this is someone who, 21, 22, he obviously had that pretty consistent season as Rangers won the league and was a big contributor. The season after that has that knee injury, which basically takes him out of action for a year and a half. Then his Rangers' future is up in the air at that point in time, and that is to do with the subsequent contract dilemma that was resolved last October eventually, when he was training with the B team for a while and then came up eventually again to be part of Philippe Clement's squad. But he then had that disappointing loan where he didn't play that much in Spain. He's come back this season and I think he's had a so-so season, but it also took him until about November to play games because, remember, he came back into the squad, got a red card on that return. I think it was in a win over St Johnstone, 2-0 Rangers win over St Johnstone at home. One thing that I think can be said to him, and this comes across in his interviews, and if you speak to people about the time he spent with the B team, is that he is a real professional. He's someone who's pretty authentic with his words, and as I say, I think that comes across in his interviews. He was stressing there that he is not asked to leave or said that he isn't interested in staying. as we understand it, is still a kind of ongoing situation when there's no maybe definitive decision either way from either party on that, because he's 26. He needs to know as well, you'd imagine, where he's going to get regular football and also where he's going to play, because don't forget this season, Derek, he's never actually played as a number 10 for Rangers. Maybe here or there, but it's largely been off the left wing or off the right wing, and in roles he can do, but probably not where he'd want to be playing when he's in the peak of his career. So you're right, he's someone who's got nearly 50 caps for Romania. He clearly has a value. Barry Ferguson turned to him last week when he needed someone to fill that void, and it's going to be one to keep an eye on over the next couple of months as to what actually happens in that what happens in that position, and what that tells us kind of about Rangers squad building moving forward into what could be another very busy summer.
Yeah, and conflicting comments coming in just on the future of Hagi. Nicky says that he's been here for 5 years, Derek. This is what Hagi is now. Consistency isn't part of his game. He should be thanked and shown the door in the summer. So he would like to see him moved on. This is an interesting point as well from Kyle. He says that if Hagi was to stay next season, could you see him playing deeper like he did at times under Gerrard? You just mentioned there, we've not really seen him much as a number 10. Could he do that role? Maybe move deeper, Joshua, as a bit of a playmaker, perhaps?
Well, I think he could, but again, it comes down to the style of play, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see how many passes Rangers played yesterday, but I think it will be a worryingly low amount.
Yeah.
If I can get this up quickly, because I was looking at the pass accuracy at the start of the first half and thinking this is not good. But if you go to that Gerrard team, let's see, 1 second, relying on FOTMob here, 319 passes. Like,
is that yes?
Yeah. But that's nothing. So I think, and this goes for a lot of, I think to a degree it goes, I know Chris Boyd, for example, really critical of Danilo yesterday in the first half. And I think there's some truth in that. When you're worth a lot of money, you need to come in and make an impact. I would argue that Danilo generally does. He just can't get on the pitch consistently. But also yesterday, I thought we saw a bit of a return to just kind of direct football where the midfield's missed out. You're relying on Cortez or Danilo plucking the ball out of absolutely nothing, like Igamane did for that goal. This is why Rangers are a moment's team. I think, like, for Hagi's goal, what Chefty did well is he doesn't just lash it into the box, he slows it down, he waits for a cut-back opportunity. But to the comment, could Hagi play deeper? I think in a team that had a lot of the ball and progressed it slowly, yes, but maybe not in a team that's playing 319 passes that is then relying on your midfielders doing a lot of off-ball work. Now, it's not that yesterday's a hard game to judge any manager's style on, because you make 9 changes and the game doesn't matter as much as Barry Ferguson will have wanted to win that. Thursday's a far bigger game, but I don't think it's a sustainable long-term approach, Derek. Is that they had fewer passes in Aberdeen. Aberdeen had 379.
That's not much either.
No, it's not much, but I think that's, we speak a lot about, we were speaking about it with Johnny on the podcast over the weekend. I don't think it's so much you need a manager who just a specialist in breaking down a low block, but it's a specialist and someone who can control matches, because Rangers' issue all season is that they've had absolutely no control of matches, and then that I think increases the variables for the opposition. That's what normally I think in Scottish football they'd prefer to have.
Yeah, Craig says we won't see that first 11 again. I very much doubt we will. Craig, you mentioned there Danilo, Joshua, touched on that show we did with Johnny at the weekend. We talked about Danilo and whether he would get a look in under Barry. He got an opportunity yesterday, and like you said, never took it to great effect. Hooked it half-time. Struggled to see where he's going to fit in there. I think you'll get games in the league, but in Europe where he'll want to play, so you're struggling to see where he's going to fit in. And also, given the outlay, is he another one in the Ross McCausland department that you're looking to shift in the summer?
What did you think of his first half? Did you think it was a poor individual performance?
It looks like someone who's not played much.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And then pardon me, it's having to play a game that doesn't really suit them.
Yeah.
normally when he's on the pitch, he makes an impact. But again, the issue is he just can't seem to get on the pitch consistently. And especially at this time of the season, the manager is going with players like Dessers, who he can rely on physically and rely on consistently, probably over Danilo's superior technical ability. So I don't think it's the same as McCausland in that you normally have a bit more guarantee over what you're going to get in terms of output. But again, the question that an incoming sporting director and manager will have to answer is, this is a player who, the stat we keep coming back to, has completed 390 minutes in the Scottish Premiership.
I know.
He is one of the more significant earners in the squad. He still has value. Do we try and get the quality that is there out of him or cut ties? There's just, again, Rangers have carried too many of these players consistently. When you look at yesterday by Rami and Cortez, I thought Cortez had a few bright moments again.
He needs games, a bit.
Yeah, exactly. How do you judge a player when they've not played? His last start was December 29th. He's only started 3 league games, I believe, all season. He needs games to get up to speed, which is what I would argue these last 5 games of the season need to be about playing these players. And it should have been more up until now. Someone like Nsiala, we don't really know. Is Nsiala ready to be one of your starting centre-backs next season, Derek? Probably not. But had he played another half season, would he have? Or had he played kind of consistently from when he came in January, could he have been? I don't think it's outside the question. I don't think it's completely impossible. But because, again, there's been all this chopping and changing, I just think it's quite a difficult environment to judge players in.
It is difficult at this moment in time. Let's play. This is one of the snippets from Barry's press conference after the game yesterday. This is what he had to say.
I questioned it last week against Hibs. I questioned the character and the desire. We all know what happened on the Monday. Certainly the last 2 games, they've showed that they've certainly got that. We've got to play better, but we've got to try and keep 11 men on the pitch. That's becoming a recurring theme. So if we have 11 men on the pitch, then we've got a better chance of winning games. But when you go down to 10, I thought they stuck together. Thought they worked ever so hard. You have to surrender a lot of possession, but they were willing to do that. I said that you have to sacrifice that, and hopefully we'll get that couple of chances. And we got the couple of chances. We obviously stuck them in the back of the net.
There you go, complete with crying baby in the background as well, which is you don't often hear at press conferences. You ever had that at a press conference, Joshua?
I've not. I presume it was close to a like hospitality suite or something, but yeah, new one for me. I wasn't there, obviously. Chris was up there, but yeah. I don't know. I think all this, is that a squad who look a bit more engaged and take on their manager's instruction in terms of what he's referring to in that second half? Yeah, probably. But also, they keep going 2-0 down. So I don't think the issue. I think the issue is a mentality issue. But I'll keep going back to, I just think as a squad who have had so many contrasting ideas and been put together by different people over time, and they need a coach who's going to come in and tell them, this is how you're going to win matches. This is a style I need you to commit to. This is how you're going to control games. Because that game, Derek, realistically, you could have put that in any one of the last 4 or 5 times that Rangers have gone up to Pittodrie and spare the formation. It could have been, there's no real distinctive. This is a team that haven't had a distinctive style domestically for too long, and that's the biggest issue for me beyond any sort of mentality complaints.
Yeah, of course, we're also live on Instagram. Jordan says Danilo needs to run a games in a better team. He will excel just like Jefty, he says on Danilo on that one. Yeah, listen, I said before, I think Barry was right in making the number of changes that he did. And yeah, of course, we all know a huge game on the horizon. So it's the most least important game of the week. There is no doubt about that. But saying that, the manner in which Rangers have somehow managed to claw Aberdeen back and get a last-ditch equaliser, I think in the dressing room that will do something. I think it will go over there with belief, certainly after Thursday night's performance as well. I don't think there's anything to fear for Rangers, who of course will welcome back Diamandi and Suter. Now Bilbao clearly favourites. There's no doubt about that, but that brings added pressure, and Rangers often do well when they are underdogs. So we dare to dream, I think. Fans have the right heading out there. That'll be in the stadium on Thursday to dream of another glorious Rangers European night, but it will be a tough task. I've said it before. I think it'll be up there with Leipzig, maybe even better than Dortmund, beating them over 2 legs.
I think that's fair. Yeah, you forget this is a team who are obviously, as we've spoken about, 4th in La Liga, won the Copa del Rey, finished top of the Europa League group. They have a home tie, they have a home final. There is a lot going for them. They're heavy favourites.
Yeah.
You're right, though, that and we've probably spent the last half an hour of this podcast just slating yesterday's performance, but it was they did get back into it, and that was difficult in that second half against a man advantage, much like in midweek, and I've no doubt that it will have left them in obviously a far better frame of mind heading down the road, even if a majority of those players won't play on Thursday. So you'd imagine there will be belief, and I think last Thursday has shown that Bilbao are a more conservative team away from home, and I'm sure they would look at their performance and say they weren't near their best, but they're not untouchable, and that's what Rangers needed to go into that second leg. Keep it alive, give yourself a little bit of hope, and that's all you can ask for going into a game where, as you say, they're big underdogs, but they've been big underdogs before, haven't they?
Yeah, I cannot wait to head out there. You're heading out, is it tomorrow, Joshua? You're venturing over?
Yes, I will be there tomorrow, and you on Wednesday, I think.
Get there Wednesday about midnight, bit of a flying visit there all day Thursday, and then get about 20 minutes sleep, and then back on Friday, which I know many of you will be. If you're on that flight, incidentally, a bit of a planes, trains and automobiles to get there for me, but I'm going Manchester, Seville, so down to the bottom of Spain to come back up, Seville to Bilbao. And then on the way back, Barcelona to Manchester. So I'm sure there'll be a few beers on the flight than normally is heading out to European games. But let's hope it's a successful week. Just a heads up what's to come today, folks. I think we'll hear from, there was embargoed press conferences. I think we'll hear from Mohamed Diamandi at some point today, so keep your eyes peeled for that on the YouTube channel, folks. Those of you that are Rangers Review Extra members on YouTube will record our weekly Q&A this afternoon as well at 2 p.m, I think, at the usual time for that. So I'll pop out the link in the community page as ever, and we'll speak to you at around 2. If I don't chat to you, enjoy your Monday, whatever you are doing, and big thank you to Joshua and to you all for your support to the channel and for tuning in as ever. We'll speak to you later on. Bye for now.